You have been living in the in-between, and it has been slowly training your heart to accept crumbs as if they were meals. One day they're warm, present, intense, calling you special, looking at you like you're the only person in the room, and the next day they're vague, distant, busy, not sure, acting like your desire for clarity is a problem. And the most painful part is not even the distance, it is the confusion. Because confusion keeps you hoping. Confusion keeps you waiting. Confusion keeps you believing that if you just say it better, love them softer, ask for less, and become easier to keep, then maybe they will finally choose you fully. But listen, clarity is not pressure, clarity is respect. Clarity is the minimum requirement for any connection that has the right to touch your life. When someone wants you, truly wants you, they don't build a home inside your heart and then pretend they don't know where they stand. They don't ask for loyalty while offering uncertainty. They don't keep you close enough to soothe their loneliness while staying far enough to avoid responsibility. And if you have been in something like that, I need you to understand, your need for clarity is not too much. It is your nervous system begging you to stop living in a story that keeps changing every week. Because the between is where you start abandoning yourself. You start checking your phone too much, reading into tiny shifts in tone, overanalyzing what they meant, rewriting your messages 10 times so you don't sound needy. You start bargaining with your own standards. You start telling yourself, maybe this is normal, when deep down your body knows it isn't. Your body knows when something is secure. Your body knows when love is steady. And if you constantly feel like you're about to lose them, like you have to earn their presence, like one wrong sentence will make them disappear, that is not romance, that is an emotional treadmill. So here is the first final boundary, clarity or closure. Not an ultimatum, not a dramatic speech, not a long emotional essay, just a calm, clean line that protects your heart. It sounds like, I care about you, and I'm not interested in staying in something undefined. I want to know what we are building, and if you're not ready for that, I respect it, but I'm stepping back. That's it. No begging. No proving. No arguing your worth. You are not trying to force them to choose you. You are simply refusing to stay in a situation that keeps you half alive. And yes, you will feel the fear rise up the moment you say it. The fear that says, if I ask for clarity, I'll lose them. But I want you to see that fear for what it is. That fear is the evidence that you've been surviving on uncertainty. That fear is the proof that part of you already knows. This connection has been held together by you tolerating less than you deserve. Because when something is real, asking for clarity doesn't threaten it, it strengthens it. Healthy love doesn't collapse under definition. Healthy love becomes more secure when it's named. What you are really doing when you choose clarity is this: you are ending the addiction to potential. You are ending the habit of falling in love with who they could be if they just healed, if they just stopped running, if they just realized what they had. Potential is seductive because it feels like hope. But hope without evidence becomes a prison. And if you've been stuck there, you've probably been telling yourself stories like, they're just scared, they've been hurt before, they don't do labels, they're not good with emotions. Maybe all of that is true. But their fear is not a reason for your suffering. Their wounds are not a license to keep you in limbo. Clarity is also where you stop letting words replace actions. Someone can say, I like you, and still avoid choosing you. Someone can say, you matter, and still keep you at arm's length. Someone can say, I'm not ready, and still take all the benefits of you being emotionally available. Your boundary doesn't punish them for not being ready. It simply removes the benefits of your full access when they're offering partial commitment. Because access to you should never be free when it costs you your peace. And you have to hold the line. Because this is where many people break their own boundary. They ask for clarity, the person gets uncomfortable, The person pulls back, and suddenly you panic, and you start chasing, and you start softening your own standard. No, I didn't mean it like that. We can take it slow. I'm okay with whatever. And in that moment, you teach them something. You teach them that your needs are negotiable, and that if they withdraw, you will abandon yourself to keep them close. This is why clarity must come with consequences, not cruelty, consequences. If they cannot meet you, you step back. If they cannot define it, you stop acting like it's defined. If they cannot choose you, you choose yourself. Let me tell you what happens when you do this. A person who is capable of healthy love will not call you too much for asking where you stand. They will not punish you for wanting security. They may feel nervous, yes, but they will lean in because they care more about building something real than protecting themselves from discomfort. They will say, I want you too, and I'm willing to be clear. Or they will say, I'm not there, and I don't want to waste your time. Either response is a gift because it ends the fog, it ends the guessing, it gives you your power back. And the person who is only comfortable when you're convenient will try to keep you in the gray zone. They'll say, why do we need to label it? Let's just enjoy it. You're overthinking? You're making it heavy. They will frame your clarity as pressure, because pressure is the only word that makes your standard sound unreasonable. But your standard is not unreasonable. Wanting to know what you are investing in is normal. Wanting to feel emotionally safe is normal. Wanting a relationship that doesn't make you doubt yourself is normal. So if you've been in the in-between, this is your permission slip to stop living like love is something you have to earn by suffering quietly. Ask for clarity, not once, not twice, but as a lifestyle, as a standard, as a way of honoring the fact that your heart is not a rental space. And if they can't meet you there, let the closure be clean. Let it hurt, yes, but let it heal you. Let it teach you that peace is better than potential, certainty is better than confusion, and being alone is better than being half chosen. You keep telling yourself it's the connection that matters, that the chemistry is rare, that the moments, when they are present, feel so real it must mean something. And I understand that, because when an avoidant gives you a glimpse of warmth, it can feel like standing in sunlight after a long winter. But I need you to hear this gently and clearly. Chemistry is not a commitment. Chemistry is not stability. And chemistry is not what holds you at night when you are crying into your pillow wondering why the person who cares can disappear so easily. The second final boundary is consistency over chemistry, and it exists because your heart has been trained to chase intensity instead of choosing safety. The problem is not that you love deeply. The problem is that deep love without steady behavior becomes a roller coaster, and the roller coaster starts to feel normal, even though it is slowly draining you. You begin to measure love by spikes, the surprise text after silence, the sudden affection after distance, the I miss you, right when you were about to move on. And every time they return, your body relaxes, your hope rises, and you tell yourself, see, they do care. But then the pattern repeats, and you are right back in the same age, trying to make sense of someone who can be all in for a day and missing for a week. Consistency is not boring. Consistency is safety. Consistency is what allows your nervous system to breathe. Consistency is what makes love feel like home instead of a storm. And if someone only shows up when they feel like it, only communicates when it suits them, only gives effort in bursts, then what you have is not a relationship. It is a rhythm that keeps you emotionally hungry. Because hunger keeps you focused on them. Hunger keeps you forgiving. Hunger keeps you grateful for crumbs. So this boundary is where you stop romanticizing the highs, and you start paying attention to the gaps. You stop asking, how do I feel when they are here? And you start asking, how do I feel most of the time? Most of the time. Do you feel calm, secure, and valued, or do you feel uncertain, anxious, and like you're waiting for permission to matter. Because love that is real does not require you to constantly recover from it. Love that is real does not make you question your worth every time their mood changes. Love that is real may have challenges, yes, but it does not have a constant undertone of instability. Consistency means their words and actions match over time. Not one good week that becomes your proof that they can change. Over time. It means you don't have to decode them. You don't have to guess. You don't have to be cool to keep them near. It means they make contact without you having to chase it. They follow through without you having to remind them. They show care in ordinary moments, not only in dramatic ones. Consistency is not grand gestures. It is the steady behavior that says, "You are safe with me, and I know what you're thinking," but they're avoidant. Consistency is hard for them. And that may be true. But here is the line you must stop crossing. Your understanding cannot become your self-sacrifice. Your empathy cannot become your excuse to accept pain. Their difficulty with intimacy does not mean you must accept inconsistency as the price of loving them. You can have compassion for their nervous system and still hold standards that protect yours. You can say, "I see that closeness is hard for you," and still say, "But my life cannot be built on uncertainty." This boundary is not delivered as a threat, it is lived as a standard. It is you deciding that you will no longer reward inconsistency with unlimited access. Because one of the reasons inconsistency continues is that it still works. It still gives them the benefits of you. Your attention, your affection, your patience, your emotional availability, while they keep the freedom to disappear whenever they feel overwhelmed. And your heart keeps paying the cost. So you change the rules, not by punishing, but by matching reality. If they show up inconsistently, you stop showing up consistently for them. If they disappear, you don't chase. If they come back with vague affection but no change, you don't melt. You stay grounded. You stay clear. You let time and behavior speak louder than chemistry. Because chemistry is fast. Chemistry is exciting. Chemistry can be intoxicating. But consistency is what tells you the truth. And you may have to grieve a little when you choose this boundary. You may have to grieve the fantasy that if you just love enough, they will become steady. You may have to grieve the hope that the next time they return, it will finally be different. But grief is not the enemy here. Grief is the doorway. Grief is what frees you from chasing a version of them that only appears in moments. Grief is what allows you to stop being addicted to temporary closeness. Consistency also means you stop accepting mixed messages as normal. Mixed messages are not mysterious, they are information. If they say they miss you but don't make time, if they say they care but don't communicate, if they say you're important but treat you like you're optional, believe their behavior. The most honest language a person speaks is what they repeatedly do. And when you make consistency your boundary, you stop falling in love with words that sound good, and you start respecting the pattern that is real. This is where you learn to say, calmly, "I like you, but I need consistency. I need steady contact, steady effort, and follow through. I don't do hot and cold. I don't do disappearing. I don't do confusion." And then, the most important part, you stop negotiating with your own boundary when they react. Because they might react. They might say you're demanding. They might say you're overthinking. They might try to make you feel guilty for wanting what is actually normal. But wanting consistency is not demanding. It is not dramatic. It is not insecurity. It is the adult requirement for emotional safety. If someone is capable of stepping up, this boundary will feel like a wake-up call, not an attack. They will recognize that you are not asking them to be perfect. You are asking them to be present. And if someone is not capable, they will either step out, or they will try to keep you in the old cycle with promises. That's why you don't listen to promises, you watch behavior. Because the truth is, you cannot build a future on chemistry alone. You cannot build a relationship on intensity bursts. You cannot build peace on unpredictability. And you are allowed to want love that is steady, not just love that is strong. You are allowed to want a partner whose presence doesn't feel like a reward you have to earn. You are allowed to want a rhythm that doesn't keep your heart in withdrawal. So if you are tired, if you are drained, if you are exhausted from the emotional whiplash, let this boundary be your turning point. Choose consistency over chemistry. Choose calm over chaos. Choose a love that meets you in the ordinary, not only in the dramatic. And if they can't offer that, let their absence be the answer, because the right love will not require you to survive it. There is a quiet kind of pain that happens when you love someone, and you start measuring your own emotions like they are a problem. You feel something real, you try to express it gently, and somehow you end up apologizing for it. You start thinking, maybe I am too sensitive, maybe I ask for too much, maybe I should not bring this up, maybe I should just be grateful they are even here. And that is how respect gets eroded, not in one big moment, but in 100 small moments where you keep swallowing your truth to keep the peace. The third final boundary is respect is non-negotiable. And I want you to understand this. Respect is not a luxury for perfect relationships. Respect is the bare minimum for any relationship that deserves access to you. Respect is how love feels safe. Respect is how you know you are not in a connection where you have to earn basic decency. And if you have been with someone who shuts down, gets cold, acts irritated, dismisses you, vanishes, or punishes you with silence whenever you express a need, that is not just a communication issue, that is a respect issue. Because disrespect is not only shouting or insults. Disrespect can be a sigh when you speak, a smirk when you cry, a cold, "You're too much," a tone that makes you feel stupid for asking. Disrespect can be them making jokes about your feelings, turning serious conversations into sarcasm, or acting like your emotions are an inconvenience. Disrespect can be the way they disappear and come back like nothing happened, expecting your heart to reset on command, as if you are not a human being with memory and nervous system and scars. Disrespect can be the subtle message: I will only treat you well when you are easy to deal with. And I need you to feel the truth of this. When someone truly values you, they don't make you feel ashamed for being human. They don't make you feel guilty for wanting care. They don't keep you in a position where your needs are always negotiable, but their comfort is always protected. A respectful person may not always agree with you, but they will always try to understand you. They will stay present, even if the conversation is hard. They will not punish you for speaking. So your boundary is not a long lecture. Your boundary is a standard you hold in your energy, your words, and your actions. It sounds like, "You don't get to speak to me that way." And you say it calmly, without raising your voice, without insulting back, without turning it into a war. Because you are not trying to win, you are protecting your dignity. It sounds like, if you need space, you can take it. But you don't get to disappear without communication. And you say it like someone who knows they are worth basic courtesy. It sounds like, "My feelings are not up for mockery." And you mean it. And here is where most people get stuck. They think setting a respect boundary will push the person away, and they panic. They soften it. They laugh it off. They explain themselves more. They chase. They overcompensate. They become extra loving to prove they are not difficult. But that is how you teach someone that disrespect works. That is how you teach someone that if they get cold enough, you will get quiet enough. That is how you slowly disappear inside your own relationship. Respect is non-negotiable because you cannot heal in a place where you are constantly being subtly invalidated. Your nervous system cannot relax when it is always bracing for the next shutdown. You cannot build intimacy with someone who treats vulnerability like weakness. You cannot stay soft with someone who punishes softness. Over time you become guarded, you become anxious, You become reactive, and then they point to your reaction as proof that you are the problem. But you are not the problem. You are a person who has been pushed past your emotional limits. This boundary also means you stop accepting stonewalling as normal. Silence can be a healthy pause, but stonewalling is a weapon. There is a difference between, "I'm overwhelmed, I need an hour, and then we can talk," and "I'm going to vanish for 3 days and let you suffer." One is regulation. The other is punishment. And if you have been on the receiving end of that punishment, you know what it does. It makes you spiral. It makes you beg. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you promise you will be better, just to get warmth back. That is not love. That is conditioning. So you draw the line. You say, "I'm open to talking when you're calm, but I'm not available for coldness, contempt, or silence as a way to control the situation." And then you follow through. Because the power of a boundary is not the sentence, it is the consequence. If they get disrespectful, you end the conversation. If they vanish without communication, you stop chasing them. If they come back with no accountability, you do not reward it with full access. You can be kind, but you are not available to be treated casually. And let me tell you why this boundary is so emotional. Because it forces you to face a hard truth. It forces you to admit that you have been tolerating behavior that hurts you, not because you like pain, but because you believed love could fix it. You believed if you were patient enough, gentle enough, loyal enough, they would finally see your worth and treat you better. And that belief kept you staying. That belief kept you hoping. But respect does not grow out of you proving yourself. Respect grows when you require it. And I know that sounds scary, because it means you may lose the version of them that you have been chasing. The version that is sweet when they want you. The version that is affectionate when they are in the mood. The version that makes promises when they feel you slipping away. But love that only shows up when it is convenient is not love you can trust. Love that disappears when you need it most is not love that can hold you. So if you want a final truth to anchor into, here it is: anyone can be kind when things are easy. Respect is proven when things are hard. Respect is shown in conflict, in discomfort, in moments where emotions are real. And you deserve someone who doesn't just enjoy you, but honors you. Someone who doesn't just want your warmth, but protects your heart. This boundary is not about becoming harsh. It is about becoming unmovable in your self-respect. It is about deciding, I will not trade my dignity for someone's inconsistent affection. I will not shrink my feelings to fit someone's comfort. I will not accept contempt, coldness, or punishment in the name of love. And when you hold that line, you will feel something shift in you. You will feel your spine return. You will feel your voice come back. You will feel yourself stop begging for basic decency. And if they step up, it will be because they finally realize that you are not a person they can access without care. And if they step out, it will be because they were only comfortable when you were willing to tolerate disrespect. Either way, you win. Because you choose a life where love cannot exist without honor.